A special meeting. I was in the middle of my meditation when I felt the presence of someone near me. He touched my shoulder and said, "Ray, it is time. We have to go to a special meeting. I want you to witness it and write about what you will experience." I felt a stream of energy that made me step out of my body. My guide immediately took me to the astral plane. The journey was short, and suddenly we found ourselves in a landscape on a kind of plateau. It was night. There were stars in the sky. It was pleasantly warm. I had the feeling of being somewhere in the south in nature, but I could not see much because it was dark. Then I realized that in the middle of the plateau there was a temple with light. My guide and I walked towards this temple, and I asked him about this event, but he only said that soon I would understand everything. As we walked through the night, I realized that we were not the only ones arriving. In fact, souls were coming from all directions, all with their spiritual guides by their side. The closer we got to the temple, the more details I could see. These were also special souls in terms of their dress and appearance. They were religious leaders and masters of spiritual traditions. So this must be a really important event, I thought to myself. My spiritual guide read my mind and nodded his head. Something special was going to happen. Then we reached the temple with its large columns that reminded me of the ancient Greek temples. The temple was very large, somehow oversized for a normal person. A bright light flooded the inside of the temple, and many souls had already taken their seats. Inside the temple there was only one large room with no other rooms or walls, but with a large altar in the center. The atmosphere in the temple was so pure and uplifting. It made me shudder when I felt the presence of God in that light. The souls sat on the steps around the altar, so that all were looking at the golden bowl and the dancing flames on the top. My spiritual guide and I also sat down on the steps. The whole temple was made of white, pure marble. It was so overwhelming to see this beauty in stone, this noble hall with the fire in the center, and all these religious, spiritual souls in their traditional dress and signs of power. In the meantime, everyone found a place, and I was amazed at the diversity of people who had gathered here. I saw souls from all different cultures and regions of the earth. It was so fascinating, so unique, and just amazing. Looking around, I had the impression that not everyone was happy to be here, that on the contrary, some were obviously anxious, while others were already in a state of ecstasy and great joy. Some souls felt completely in the wrong place, since they had no connection with the temple. Others were already beginning to praise the Divine Spirit. Some were surprised that they were invited together with leaders of hostile religions. All in all, it was a strange situation, a strange sight. An old man stood up. He looked very wise and radiated great power. He was dressed like a priest of the old time in a white robe. He raised his voice and said, "Dear souls from different religions and spiritual traditions, I greet you all with love and respect. You may wonder about the reason for this extraordinary event. I must announce to you that the time has come for the sunrise of a new spiritual age, which means great changes for humanity and especially for religions and spiritual traditions in all spheres of life. The age of darkness, the spiritual night on earth, has already lasted long enough with all its destruction and gloom. The dark forces have sabotaged and undermined everything that was originally good, right, and noble. Humanity has been enslaved and kept in a dull, dormant state. All that will soon change, for the dark forces will lose their power and the light will be reborn. Now is the time to prepare for the dawn of light, the spiritual sunrise. For this purpose, many faithful masters have been sent to earth to incarnate and make the necessary changes. Also, countless major souls have incarnated to receive higher spiritual teachings for great personal development and to become adepts, masters of light. But still the great mass of souls are asleep, kept dull and limited by all the poisons, the artificial unhealthy way of life, the enslavement by the masters of the material world. The high priest paused and then continued his speech. And now we come to you, the leaders of the various religions and traditions. You bear a great responsibility, since you both guide the major souls and initiate the major souls into the sacred mysteries. You have not been untouched by this darkness. On the contrary, you have been blinded by the darkness, by the material powers, by the selfishness of the ego. Your teachings lack the original divine purity, light, love, and wisdom. There are only a few of you who have kept the spiritual fire burning throughout the centuries. And some of you have remained in the regions of nature instead of reaching higher to the mysteries of heaven. The Divine Spirit will speak to you now. Meanwhile, some representatives of the great religions turned pale as their consciences were activated. Others, especially the leaders of spiritual traditions, saw their attitude confirmed by the words of the high priest. And some simply lacked understanding. They were stunned and shocked to hear that something in their teachings could be wrong. The high priest raised his arms, turned the fire on the altar, and cried aloud, "Most high, most majestic, light of all lights, please reveal yourself." While the priest prayed, the fire grew in the golden bowl. But there was no heat, only this great fire with dancing flames. It was the symbol of the cosmic fire, the omnipotence of the Most High. An all-pervading voice came like thunder from the fire. "I am the One, the original Spirit, the Father of all beings. I am the Absolute that embraces all that is relative. I am the One who gives life to the diversity of creation. I am the eternal light, the cosmic consciousness, the all-knowing, the all-loving, the Almighty, the eternal life itself. You call yourselves representatives of me. You proclaim to worship me and obey my laws. But most of you do not know me. Most of you do not know my laws. So how can you follow me? How can you serve me well? How can you be my temple? In the face of these words, many souls turned pale and murmurs were heard. The Almighty continued, instead of following the living Spirit, you have preferred to follow yourselves, your own ideas about my being, and above all, your selfish desires. Instead of orienting yourselves to me as the Absolute and to my eternal laws, you have made your own human laws that reflect your human limitations, your imperfections, and your hunger for power. Instead of teaching what is good, right, and lawful, you have written holy books and copied from each other without distinguishing between good and evil. Your personal weaknesses, selfishness, and base material desires have brought endless suffering and injustice to your followers. And if that were not too much, you have spread hatred and started wars in my name. The voice of the Almighty activated the conscience of the souls in the temple to such an extent that those who were pure and good experienced a deep ecstasy, while those with a bad conscience became painfully aware of their thoughts. It was in fact a kind of clearing process in a higher state of consciousness, with the experience of enlightenment. The voice in the fire continued. The lords of karma and fate will judge in my name, and everyone will get what they deserve. It is up to you if you want to continue like this or if you want to serve my plans for the preparation of the coming spiritual age. I call upon all true servants of the eternal light to use your position as leaders in the various religions and traditions to distinguish light from darkness, to dissolve the darkness in your religious teachings, and to balance them by orienting yourselves to my laws. Every human being has the right to be taught about my essence, the laws of creation, and true spiritual development. Freedom is the sacred right of all beings. Free yourselves from hatred and reach out to all members of the human family in brotherly love. Cooperate and follow the principles of divine wisdom. Then the earth will turn into a paradise again, and all my children can live together in peace and happiness and become aware of their original spiritual nature. All my children shall grow and prosper in their divine nature. So be it. The audience listened in awe. For most of the religious leaders, the entire worldview changed in a single moment. Everything they had believed in for decades suddenly appeared in a completely new light, and so much had to be corrected and changed. It seemed that this was the biggest project ever in the history of religion. However, the Almighty continued earlier in his speech, all of you are the leaders of religions and spiritual traditions on earth. Be aware that my secrets are not limited to your teachings and holy books or to the secrets of nature. Only those with a pure and loving heart, with devotion and highest ideals, will be initiated into all my mysteries into my highest being. With this, I call you to go through the rightful spiritual formation to become a perfect temple of my spirit. You are all destined to blossom in my light in order to achieve the sacred goals of the evolution of the human soul. I love you all, my children, unconditionally, and I know all your thoughts and feelings. I do not judge you. You judge only yourselves. Therefore, dedicate yourselves to my absolute virtues of all-embracing love and compassion, divine wisdom and knowledge, divine justice, omnipotence, and eternal life. Then my light will guide and inspire you in all your tasks and on all your ways. These were the last words of the Almighty who spoke through the cosmic fire. All present were deeply touched, and humility spread through their souls. The words of love and wisdom had a great transforming effect on everyone. The high priest stood up again and raised his arms. O Most High of the Most High, Eternal Light, Almighty, Spirit, Father, in deep humility we receive your message, and it is our honor to follow your words. With these words the high priest bowed before the sacred fire, and a stream of blessings descended upon the listeners, so that all shuddered and fell into ecstasy and awe. Now the high priest directly addressed the souls in the audience. Dear brothers and sisters, it is now time to set out and carry out the will of our Father. May the Almighty guide and bless you for the successful work on earth. All the souls consciously opened themselves to the blessings of the old priest and then left the temple with their spiritual guides. I too was deeply touched and indeed grateful that the Almighty gave a clear message to the religious leaders. All the suffering caused by lower human nature must come to an end, and humanity must grow together as the family it truly is. I was happy and my spiritual guide smiled at me. The divine love in our hearts shone brightly, and we both felt the beauty of unity. When I got back to my room, it seemed like no time had passed, maybe just a few seconds. I'm now waiting for the new spiritual age, for its sunrise, and with humility, love, and wisdom, I'm working for it.